If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
All right, everyone, we are back with the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast, Sunday edition, but we are missing two participants here. Instead, we have the two retards of the bunch.
Fucking it.
But, Dan and Rink aren't here tonight, but we do have a lot planned this week, so stay tuned. But I figured tonight we could talk about the different eras of specifically the WWF/E.
/E. WWF
/E.
Yeah, I know, it's funny.
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good idea. Yeah, good idea.
So,
At least you're putting something out.
Yeah. So, Golden Era, which obviously, or a lot of people can call it the Hulkamania era, which that era was around 84 to 93, so like a 9-year span. So what are your memories of the Golden Era?
Oh my goodness. I am lucky to have been I was born in 84, so I remember WrestleMania 6 as it happened. I don't remember WrestleMania 5 as it happened, but I do remember watching it shortly after it came out. However, dude, my childhood was based on the Golden Era.
Yeah.
So my eyes light up whenever I hear the Golden Era. My memories of the Golden Era, when I think that, I think of Macho Man and what was it? The Hulk? What was it? The Hulkamaniacs? What were they called?
Well, Hogan, yeah.
Hogan, Macho, when they were in the tag team. What were they called?
Oh, the Mega Powers.
The Mega Powers. Sorry. I just want everybody to know. Forgive me if I'm extra slow today. I took a trip on mushrooms last night, and that's all I'm gonna say. Drugs do make you stupid. However, last night I was a fucking genius in my head. You should do more mushrooms, everybody. They're good for your mental health. It's like a massage on your brain, and you understand life. So if I'm extra slow or I seem extra stupid and retarded, it's because of the mushrooms I ate last night.
Cheers to that one.
Cheers to that. Fucking A, cheers to that. However, the Mega Powers. I remember watching that Saturday night's main event as it happened, and Macho Man, didn't he hit Hogan with the belt, right? Am I right? And backstage, I remember watching that as it happened. I remember when I think of Golden Era, I think of $1 Million Man putting money in his opponents' mouths after a victory. Demolition, obviously. Heart Foundation, the Rockers. Oh, it was such a great time. Rick Rude, Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake was one of my favorites growing up as a kid. Just when I think of the Golden Era, I smile and just, man. Well, it was great. It truly was. That's when wrestling was real.
Yeah. I mean, you had... Because obviously we're just covering the WWF, whereas I prefer the NWA and among a slew of other promotions, in the 70s and 80s. But when it comes to the WWF's Golden Era, you had the over-the-top characters, everyone had a manager, which that's kind of unfortunately a dying art form.
Yeah.
You had the Heenan family, which they don't.
Forgot.
Yeah, that
Bobby Heenan. Forgive me. Yeah.
And then you have to also take into effect that the commentary teams were just the best.
Oh my God, you're right.
You had Jesse Ventura, who's one of my favorite commentary announcers. You have Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, of course.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Will you stop? That's Gorilla Monsoon. Will you stop? Him
will you
always.
stop?
Will you stop? Wow. Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that. About the commentary. You're right. And the manager Slick. Who were some besides Bobby Heenan? What other managers there? We had Slick, Jimmy Hart,
Miss Elizabeth.
Miss Elizabeth, Mr. Fuji.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, Mr. Fuji. We had who else? I'm trying to think managers. But
Did
you're
you
right.
say, did you say Jimmy Hart?
Oh, we forgot Jimmy Hart. I didn't say Jimmy Hart. Was Virgil you could consider a manager, right? Or a manser?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's more of like, what do you call it? I can't think of the word for it right now, but
was he considered?
I wouldn't say a manager, but I would say I can't think of there's a word for it. I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me later. A what?
It's not heater?
No.
No, he wasn't a heater.
No. I'll think of it later. But
yeah, it'll come back.
Yeah.
Such a great time. Yeah. Man, like you said, managers, lost art. And the commentary, Bobby Heenan's commentary, and like you said, Jesse the Body, his commentary was some of my favorite too as well.
Vaucher.
Vaucher?
Yeah, is that the word?
I guess.
Okay, whatever. Anyway.
I'm Mexican. I don't even speak Spanish.
What's your favorite WrestleMania from that era?
So shit.
So all the way up to 93. My favorite's WrestleMania 8, which was 92.
That was 92 was what was that? Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter?
No, that was 91. For 92 we had Hogan and Sid Vicious as the main event. You had Bret Hart and Piper, Macho Man and Ric Flair, which was just one of the greatest fucking rivalries.
Was okay? Oh wow. Okay, I remember that. And again, forgive me. My favorite WrestleMania, just because I watched it a million times on VHS in my grandparents' basement. I'm gonna have to say WrestleMania 6. Like I know there's better WrestleManias out there with better matches, but the one that's most vivid to me that I know like the back of my hand is WrestleMania 6.
Yeah.
Like I watched that shit, I would say at least 40, 50 times at least. Probably more. Mania 6.
Who were you rooting for?
I was rooting for Warrior.
Okay.
Yeah. At that time, I was rooting for Warrior, bro. And I was shocked when Warrior won.
Well, yeah, he won, but of course Hogan had to kick out at 3.5 just to keep his dignity. He didn't take a completely clean pin. And then, of course, he was blaming God because he's like, "Oh, you bastard!" Like, so it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I remember that. I was too young to notice that shit. I was only 6 years old. I wasn't a smart fan.
Yeah, he's like, "You son of a bitch, brother."
Yeah.
That.
Oh my goodness. That's. But then I remember. Like, don't get me wrong, I was a Hulkamaniac and a half, man. When I was a kid, fucking A, I was a Hulkamaniac. I had wrestling buddies. I had, what is it? I remember I had like a bed sheets and a curtain with all the wrestlers on it. It was great. But I remember my grandparents spoiled the fuck out of me. Man, I miss my grandparents. But
same here, man.
Yeah, man. If it wasn't for my grandparents, I probably never would have gotten into wrestling. Yeah. I'm lucky that they played a big role in raising me. But what was I saying about Hulkamania? Oh, I remember 2 years later, WrestleMania 8, Sid Vicious came in, and I was just immediately hooked.
Really, I didn't like him. I
When
don't like him. I've never liked Sid, whichever
Really?
incarnation. Yeah, I have never liked him. I don't know. He just never clicked for me. Something about him. Obviously he's more famous for his promo. We're live, pal.
Yeah.
He's like, can we do that over? We're live, pal.
Yeah, that. I know. What is it? You're half the man that I am, and
Yeah.
I've got the thing that you do. Yes, unfortunately, he wasn't the greatest talker, but 8-year-old JJ watching TV, watching wrestling. Sid came in. I was just immediately hooked on Sid, and I was sick of Hulk Hogan. You figure 8 years old. Yeah, by that time I was done with Hulk. Did Undertaker appear? When did Undertaker appear?
November of 90.
90. I was all over Undertaker. So was it 90?
Yeah, November. It was Survivor Series
Yeah.
90. He was the
It's 30
mystery
years.
partner. Yeah.
Yeah,
30 years this year. Yeah.
Yeah, for the $1 Million Man's team. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And I remember but yeah, not to go off in the weeds with everything, but I remember, I was a Hulkamaniac, and by the time you figure Undertaker, I saw Undertaker and Sid come in, I forgot, like, Hulk who. I want to see more Undertaker. Mostly on.
And obviously at this time, Vince kind of went against his father's wishes. He bought the competition and took it global. Like he did a lot for the wrestling business, but he also took away as well.
Yes.
Depending on who you ask, they either think Vince was a genius. Well, he was a genius, but they either think he destroyed the wrestling business or he kept it alive. I prefer the territory system.
Okay.
But it's just he acquired.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you with the territory system. I do. It's not like there was more wrestling for more people, for everybody. And like you said, now that I'm older and I go back on the network and I watch NWA, I watch WCW. Yes, NWA and WCW was a lot better than WWF during the golden era. So I'll watch World Clash, World Class and all that shit. You're right. The territory was great. Unfortunately, they were bought out by Vince, but he's a genius. It's sucks. It affected a lot of people in a negative way, but the business has to change the way I look at it. But I do miss the territories. I wish that was alive still.
Yeah, and
It's
the way I look at it, if Vince didn't do it, someone else would have as well. Eventually.
Hey, yeah,
somebody. Yeah,
you're right. I never thought of that.
yeah,
Man.
it was a matter of time, but still, because it's a monopoly. Everyone's an entrepreneur. They want to make the most money. They want the most exposure. Greed. So humanity is greed. So someone would have done it.
Yeah. Plus, he even had the idea. I remember watching all those, all those specials on the network, and he said his main goal was just to fuck everybody's top stars and that's smart. You kind of can't blame him. I think Vince is a genius. I do think that. People have mixed opinions on him, but I don't know. I think he's shit, dude. I don't know. Vince is the shit. He's got.
I respect him a whole hell of a lot. That's the unbiased opinion. So he's like I said, he is a fucking genius. It worked. Look at him. But I think he needs to be taken to the barn and shot at this point. But We'll get to that. So next up we have the new generation era, which was 93. I always said, it really started with WrestleMania 9. And then obviously it ended around late 97, depending on who you talk to, sometime in 97.
I'd say new generation ended when 97, when Brett left. When Brett got screwed. I think that's when the new generation. Well, not necessarily, because they were getting raunchy, or they were getting pretty raunchy. So I agree with you, 97, but it might have been early 97.
Yeah, I've always thought the Vince promo where he basically announced that they were giving edgier content and all that, that's kind of like the birth of the Attitude Era. A lot of these eras begin and end with a Vince promo, but
really, I never looked at
it. The Ruthless Aggression term was created by Vince during a promo. So, yeah.
I did not know that. Either, or I did know that, and I'm just drunk and, got a little mushroom hangover from last
night. All right, so new generation era. What's your thoughts? And you obviously, you were alive in that time. I was born in 96, so.
You were born in 96? Oh, yeah, okay. So, new generation, I loved it. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Diesel, Bam Bam. A lot of people look at it as like, oh shit. I mean, obviously it's on every smark and mock. All the marks know that business was down, the house shows were down, but we had 1-3 Kid, Razor Ramon. When I think of the new generation, I just thought, even though like Lex Luger is a part of that, I hated it. I fucking hated Lex Luger. I always hated him. I should have been rooting for Lex Luger because I was that perfect demographic, right?
Yeah.
I was according to Vince, I was you figure 9 or 10 years old, and I should have been rooting for Lex Luger, but I was rooting for Brett and Shawn, more Shawn, and I got to see Brett and Shawn live at the Allstate Arena. It used to be it's the Rosemont Horizon to me.
Yeah.
I remember my godfather took me. This is way before. When did Brett and Shawn first wrestle? Like, when was their first match? Like,
was it 92? I could find out. Keep going.
I'm trying to remember, like, when they started feuding, when they had their feud. But I remember going to a house show in the wintertime that my godfather took me to, and Brett and Shawn were the headliners. But yet it wasn't on TV. You get what I'm saying? Like, their feud wasn't on TV, but yet them two were closing. They closed that show. And
they had their sample ladder match in July of 92. They had an Intercontinental title match in 92, and then Survivor Series 92 was for the WWF title. And then 93 they had a little ongoing rivalry, and then 96 is when it really like kicked up. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I remember. This is probably was 96. I used to remember seeing Brett and Shawn wrestle in person at the Rosemont Horizon, loving it, but it was before I saw it on television. And then I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months later, that's when they started feuding, and everybody was all over it. And I can't really pinpoint the year.
Well,
funny. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say they usually use house shows to test crowd reactions for upcoming rivalries. So that's actually cool. You got to see like that test run.
Yes, and I was all over it, and I remember going with a big sign, and I wrote Lex Loser on it. Yeah, because I knew he was gonna be there, and I wrote Lex Loser. Yes, and funny story of this. My godfather took me, and he was a huge Shawn Michaels fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that was the time around Sean posts for Playboy or Playgirl, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't know it at the time, but fast forward, I don't know, years later, my godfather had sent me. I found out he's gay. So
Was that why he was a fan of him?
yes, yes. I found out my godfather, who I love to death. You know, I don't care what his sexual orientation is. But my godfather, who was a huge Shawn Michaels fan, was a Shawn Michaels fan because he was attracted to him.
Nice.
Yeah, and, well, I don't care. My godfather fucking, played a huge part in raising me as well. And, my memories of him are him taking me to wrestling events and him teaching me how to read. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, but he was a big Shawn Michaels fan. So it's just, funny little stories, and when Shawn Michaels came out, my godfather went crazy.
Yeah. I think it's funny that Shawn Michaels, he thought it was literally like Playboy, so he didn't know it was for gay people.
Yes, that magazine was.
It was like a rib, like no one told him.
Yeah, like that magazine was bought mostly by gay guys. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
it's a gay-oriented magazine, yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a rib. So whatever. I mean, hey, fuck it. I'm sure you made a decent. I'm sure you got a really good paycheck for that.
Oh, I'm sure he did too.
Just like Jim Ross said, all the wrestlers, they care about, what is it, cash, creative, and something else. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
On his podcast, cash, creative, and whatever the fuck. I forget the other one. It was just 2 C's. That's all they care about is the cash and creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's Jim Ross's saying. So he probably got a 6-figure check for that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I would do it too. I don't give a fuck.
Dude, fuck it, yeah.
Hey, I'll do it for $200. I don't give a shit.
Maybe we can make the Pro WrestleZone calendar with the 4 of us.
That's on video already, so
yeah. So we're already halfway there. We'll just screen grab that. Well, that didn't make air, so nobody knows what we're talking about.
Nobody knows what we're talking about, so whatever.
Anyway, DPAP. So yeah, new generation era.
Yeah, give me your thoughts. What were your favorite moments of the new generation? What did you love about it? What did you hate about it? I want to know.
There's not much I love about it. I think it was very much a step down from the golden age. So, in the early 90s, you could see all this. That's why they call it the new generation. Just this new pack of wrestlers coming in, or the pack of wrestlers that are really making a name for themselves, like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. They were in their singles runs now. And Marty Jannetty basically fucked off and killed somebody. And you had The Undertaker.
I love that.
You had The Undertaker, who, like I said, he was huge a year in because he had beaten Hogan, in 91. So, Taker was really making a name for himself. And then you had a lot of the failed experiments, like Giant Gonzalez and Lex Luger, and and they did get a little more comedy driven
Adam
at
Bomb.
some points. Yeah.
Yes, they did get very comedy driven with Doink the Clown.
I love heel Doink.
But I was about to say I love Doink, but what were the other? Oh, didn't they have Mantar? Or
yeah, there was a lot of failed experiments.
Yeah. I did like Doink. He reminded me of an evil clown. And keep in mind, again, not to go off in the weeds, but we were dealing with John Wayne Gacy at that time. So I believe John Wayne Gacy, for all you serial killer fans, was going to be what is that? He was put to death. He was around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was executed around that. I believe around that time, Doink the Clown was on TV. So,
Yeah, he was. What was it? Pogo the Clown was John Wayne
yes,
Gacy's stage name. Yeah, I'm huge into serial killers too. So
yeah, same here. Yeah, his
yeah,
paintings go for about $75,000, dude.
dude, I would totally buy one of his
I
paintings.
want
But
one so bad. Uh,
yeah,
oh,
anyway,
anyways,
yeah, yeah, it's just like
the
you have to look at
news.
it this way. Like, there's only one like. Because I was going to ask what your favorite WrestleMania that era is, but you
Okay.
had 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. That was not a good stretch. WrestleMania 10 obviously is great. WrestleMania 13 is very much a one-match show. And I say Brett and Austin at WrestleMania 13 is the greatest WWE match of all time.
Really? Well,
Yes, that's my pick. Just for WWE or F.
I agree. That was an important match because they did a double turn.
Yeah.
That's hard to fucking do.
Yeah, it is.
And they did it, and they did it right. I remember watching it as it happened. But my favorite WrestleMania from that era, fuck, I would have to go with because I watched. There's a reason why I watched WrestleMania over and over. WrestleMania 10. There's a reason why I watched it over and over. And you had the ladder match. Is WrestleMania 10? What was the main event of that?
Well, the main event was
that year, and he won the title at the end.
Yeah, he won it from Yokozuna, and then Lex Luger faced Yokozuna earlier because they were the dual Rumble winners.
Okay, so yeah, all right, yeah. I'm gonna have to go with WrestleMania 10 just because I know for a fact I watched that WrestleMania on VHS more than I watched the other ones. So and plus they had that really cool door that opened, and there was like that big X.
Yeah, that was cool. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and I'd have to go with 10 just because again I've watched that a lot over and over, and that was during a time when the pay-per-views were 4 months. There was 4 a year. Am I correct? At that time, yeah, four.
Well, they had King of the Ring as well, so it was
yeah. And then that was around the time they were doing In Your House.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's another reason why I like the new generation. I dug the In Your Houses. Plus, they were only like $20, so that was pretty cheap. So I remember a birthday. If I'd have a birthday or a Christmas, I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, here, I want to order In Your House." And he'd be like, "All right, whatever." Yeah. So, nah. But then we got that cheater box. But anyways,
Anyway,
I loved it. I'm still watching it, so that says something.
I think Dan would be remiss if we didn't mention Brett and Owen a little more in detail.
My goodness, right? WrestleMania.
And that went on till '94. SummerSlam '94, they had the cage match.
Exactly. You had damn, that was a damn good match. Both matches. What did you like better? The SummerSlam or the WrestleMania match?
WrestleMania match.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact we had Owen Hart, man, and it just sucks because you don't like that sound. You don't know what you got till it's gone. I don't think anybody appreciated Owen until he was gone. I remember me and like 3 other friends. We were in grammar school. Figure I was 10 years old. WrestleMania 10. I remember like 2 of my other friends saying, like, "Oh man, Owen Hart, I think he's a better wrestler than Brett. He's more fun to watch." And I remember agreeing with my friends. Like, we liked Owen a little better than Brett, but we loved Brett as well.
Yeah, I very much prefer Brett, but Owen had more charisma. And he was a little more exciting to watch to a broader audience. Whereas Brett was kind of that technician, which is why I prefer him. But Brett on the mic wasn't always that great. Whereas Owen, he could cut a promo, he could entertain you, he knew how to work a crowd. Like he was.
You're right.
Yeah. They both they were their best in different ways.
Yes. And again, like I said, I think shit, and you just articulate it better. But you articulate it for me. You're right. Owen, I think as children, we loved Owen more than, a little more than Brett. We said that because Owen was more fun to watch. He was doing the acrobatic stuff, and that was new to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see that.
Yeah.
Let's watch Lucha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, next up, this is where the dislikes may show up. The Attitude Era, which was 97, very late 97, until I say the name change is when the Attitude Era officially was gone.
All right. I'll agree with you on that, yeah. Damn,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, because a lot of people say WrestleMania 17, but I'm like, no, I think it went on a little longer than that. I always say the name change is really when it ended. Like, that's when it was completely niche, But, all right, I'll just get this out of the way. I'm not a real big fan of the Attitude Era. I never really have been. To me, wrestling is storyline and then wrestling, obviously. I don't feel like we ever got good enough wrestling during the Attitude Era, and I care way more about wrestling than I do story.
Okay.
If I want story, I'll go watch a film. I'd rather have really good technical wrestling I prefer 75% wrestling, 25% story. Whereas I feel like it was the other way around for the Attitude Era. And I like, if you want to say explicit wrestling, that's fine. But violence is only needed when necessary. I don't like violence just to be violent. So if the story calls for violence, totally, let's do it. Let's fucking get the barbed wire, the thumbtacks, all that. But you don't need a disqualification every other segment. You don't need a run-in. It was overbooked. I hate interferences. To me, there's nothing better than two guys getting in the ring and hashing it out with no interference. Clean pin. If you have to have the heel be dirty, go ahead. But other than that, I just the Attitude Era I was never that big of a fan.
I agree. You ain't the only one. I wasn't watching. I was watching the Attitude Era. I was paying attention. But during that time, I was watching WCW.
Yeah, a lot of people were.
Yeah. One, NWO. That obviously drove me and my father to let's watch WCW. We want to watch WCW. This shit's it's fun. And then you had the cruiserweights. You had more going on in WCW. You had that wrestling. Although it wasn't pushed to the main event, as we all know, unfortunately, all the Malenkos, the Benoits, the Guerreros, Jerichos, I can go on into the Ultimo Dragons. That what they weren't pushed to the main event, but there was a lot of amazing wrestling matches on Monday Nitro during that time. Whereas, like you said, WWF, the Attitude Era, it was all storyline driven. It was just women getting with their dresses off. It was over the top. But Vince had to do what we had to do. And whatever. But I agree with you. We are wrestling fans, and you have many wrestling fans who like different shit. We're all different fans of different things. We're all not going to agree with everything. It's understandable. Yeah. But I agree with you. I wasn't watching the Attitude Era. I could have easily watched Raw and then watch Nitro afterwards. Because I don't know. I'm sure you don't know. I'm sure you know this, but if you don't, Nitro used to start. It started at 7, then it would end at 9 o'clock, and then it would replay right afterwards. I
That's
believe
stupid. Yeah, that's really bad.
it would either. I think it would replay right afterwards. No. I'm sorry. After Nitro would end, I believe there would be an hour-long show of some sorts, I believe, and
Yeah.
then it would replay at about 11 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a bad business model if you're in competition.
Yeah, I agree with you, but they did win for 83 weeks, so they were doing.
Yeah, but
You know,
eventually that
yeah,
ceased.
yes, it did, but I'm just saying, I could have watched Raw and then watched Nitro, watched the replay. However, I didn't choose to do that. Me and my father chose to watch Nitro. So that says a lot.
That speaks volumes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got yeah. So yeah, you're not the only one that didn't like the Attitude Era. It created a lot of stars. You know, Austin, Rock, uh, who else? I can't think right now. But
You had so many.
so
Kane.
yeah, Kane. Yeah, you're right. The whole Kane.
Yeah,
That's the Undertaker thing. I dug with Paul. Yeah, I dug that. Like, I dig. I get what you mean about the over the top story shit. I totally do. But it the Nitro was just the way I look at it. The Attitude Era, it had its good moments, but it had a lot of shitty fucking moments. And there's a reason why I don't know much about the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Choppy PP. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had what was his name? John Wayne Bobbitt, I believe, or John Bobbitt. I can't.
Yeah.
Sure, you don't. Do you know what I'm talking about? His girlfriend fucking cut his dick off, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
yes. Yeah. And I remember that shit as it happened. I was I don't know, 12 or 13, watching on the news. It was everywhere. It was
Yeah,
fucking
I remember
everywhere.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember, but I remember afterwards. Yeah. But
Yeah. So like you said, over the top goofy shit or whatever. It won some people over. But I agree with you. I was watching Nitro at this time, so I'm not really a fan of the Attitude Era. But I did love Jeff Jarrett smashing guitars over everyone. I did like that.
and I'll tell you what. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I love me some hardcore death matches, but
Okay.
not in WWF. If I want to watch a hardcore, I'll watch a Japanese death match. I love me some CZW,
Okay.
ECW. It's one of those things where, like, if you don't want to take it too seriously, throw on a death match, you're good to go. If you just want straight violence, but there's that time when you want actual wrestling,
Yeah.
and the Attitude Era it does not even come close to what I like about wrestling. It's I'd say it's my second least favorite
Okay.
era up to this point, because I think New Generation era was just my least favorite up to this point. We'll get to my least favorite. I'm just saying up to that point, I will, I'll still take Attitude Era over New Generation, but
Wow. Okay.
yeah. Next up, we have one of my favorites, the Ruthless Aggression era, which was 2002 till July of 2008. So, were you watching at this time?
I stopped watching wrestling when I was 15, and then I remember watching. I remember Fortune. That was late. That was 2003. Am I right?
What was it?
Fortune with Randy Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair.
Oh, that's
And
Evolution.
The Evolution. Was it Evolution? Why did I think Fortune? Is that TNA?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's TNA. Sorry. You know what? I'm drunk. Show, bro. The professor. I'm sorry, professor. I'm fucked up. I'm drunk, and I'm also on a mushroom hangover. Yeah, you're right. Evolution, bro. Evolution. I remember Evolution. So that was 03. Am I correct? Or 02? Late 02?
03, yeah, maybe very, very late 02, yeah.
So when I go back, all right, I'm thinking, okay, I remember I was a wild child, like a wild motherfucker. You know, I was a wild little motherfucker back then, just drinking, doing drugs, and rock and rolling, and you know, and that's and then I had to chill the fuck out, all right? And I chilled the fuck out. We'll say I had to I had to chill out in like the fall of summer of 02. I got real horrible. So we'll say the beginning of 2003 is when I started to like get into that normal pattern of a normal person's life. All right, you feel me?
Blah. Yeah.
Huh?
Blah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm far from normal.
Well, yeah, but let's just say stability. We'll say stability, all right?
All right, yeah, well, all right.
Stability. I got stable in the beginning of 2003, we'll say. And I'm keeping in mind, I'm doing some fucked up shit. Some shit that I shouldn't have been doing at 18. And that's all I'm going to say. However, when I got stable, wrestling was always there for me. And I remember me and my girl, we would just watch Raw, and I remember getting her into it as well. And Evolution. So when I think of the ruthless aggression era, this is, I just think of Evolution. I think of Randy Orton's coming up. I think of Batista coming up, Cena. I remember being not necessarily a huge fan of Cena, but I remember rooting for him. And then that WrestleMania where he beat Big Show for the U.S. title, I was so happy. I'm like, yeah, they're fucking. This dude's gonna make it. And this is way before. This is before I was a mark. This is before I was a smart fan. Yes, I had the internet and shit, but I wasn't on that shit. I was too busy doing shit. So yeah, and that's all I remember because that's all I can remember. So
fuck the internet. I have drugs.
Voting isn't just going to the polls on election day anymore. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are available to more voters and are growing in popularity. How to vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, breaks down the options your state offers for casting a ballot, empowering you to decide when and where to vote. Democracy works best when we all vote, but misinformation and confusion about election procedures have resulted in a low voter turnout. How to Vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, takes the guesswork out of the voting process. Go to Ballot Ready for a nonpartisan guide to your entire ballot. From there, you can compare candidates based on stances on issues, biographies, and endorsements, and save your choice to use when you vote by mail or in voting booth. You can even request your absentee ballot or make a plan to vote early on Election Day. This election matters. Make sure you have a plan to vote and vote informed. This year, with changes to polling places and vote-by-mail laws as a result of COVID, it is more important than ever to have a plan to vote. Local elected officials affect our lives every day. They decide who to prosecute, monitor, or quality of our drinking water, and choices for the leadership of our schools. 30% of our voters take the time to vote and then leave some part of their ballot blank. This is a missed opportunity to choose the leaders of our communities. It's okay if you're unfamiliar with some of the local positions. We recommend hosting a ballot party. Get together with your friends or over Zoom, split up the research, and go through your ballots together.
So my thoughts on the Ruthless Aggression era, this is when I was old enough to be like the smart kid watching wrestling.
Really?
So yeah, I always watched with a critical eye. I was like, dude, I was like the 6-year-old kid critiquing film. Like that's who I was. Like
That's because you're a genius. We went over the off camera, all right? So please tell me
but
more.
But yeah, I would watch wrestling. Like I wouldn't like look up dirt sheets and stuff because I didn't have internet as a kid. So, but I would be trying to guess what would happen. Like I would try to look for all the nuances in wrestling, and so yeah, I enjoyed the Ruthless Aggression era a lot. It's something I revisit quite often. Um, I'd say behind the Golden Era, this is my favorite era.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so this is my number 2. And this is kind of sad because this was the last time I actually enjoyed the product that we were given at that time. So it's kind of bittersweet because I look back on it, I'm like, that's when I was still that passionate wrestling fan. And now it's just like we're fed garbage constantly. So I basically hate the modern product. But, this was at a time when I could get into it. I went to shows. I love the heel and face dynamic when we still had it. Edge was great. I think Edge was just the best fucking heel back then. You had, of course, John Cena, which I was back and forth on. I think it's more the Super Cena of the PG era that I dislike. But I did like John Cena during the Ruthless Aggression era. Of course, you had Undertaker in, I would say, his best years. Just match after match, just kicking ass. And, he had his great rivalry with Randy Orton. Long ass time. And then you had, of course, Batista, which people are back and forth on. I don't know. I like him as a person, but when it comes to wrestling, Batista's just yeah. And the cruiserweight division, we actually had one back then. Oh, we still do. Never mind.
Oh my God, you're bringing all kinds of you're bringing back memories. Yes.
Yeah. You would always have like the cruiserweight opens for the pay-per-views, which I love those. And I'm a huge fan of WCW's cruiserweight division, so you kind of had remnants of that. Obviously, it didn't match WCW's, but you had Gregory Helms, who I thought was a good cruiserweight champion. I think he held the title for like a year or something like that.
Dang, that long.
And then, of course, we had the brand extension. You had separate brands, Raw and SmackDown, which after purchasing WCW, you're obviously going to have this slew of talent that you don't really know what to do with on one show. So let's split them up. And I thought that was the right call. I still like the brand extension.
Yeah.
And right now, people say we have a brand extension, but we don't. They're all appearing on the other show. The draft is bullshit. I remember when the draft meant something and it was actually fun to watch. You never knew what was going to happen next. But yeah, you had such a great roster too. That was kind of the remnants of the Attitude Era. A lot of those guys were still there. Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels made his big return in 2002.
God damn. Yeah.
You had Triple H's Reign of Terror. You had, it's just so much talent. And then you had like the OVW crew. Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, Randy Orton, John Cena, And, Brock was huge. I'm a Brock Lesnar fan. I don't know about you, but...
Yeah. I was when he first came out. Now, lately, no. Past, I haven't been a Brock Lesnar fan since he came back after UFC.
Yeah.
But I remember his debut. Me and my father were like, "Who the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, it was the Raw after WrestleMania 18.
Really?
Yeah.
That shows you how little I was paying attention at that time, unfortunately. Yeah. But I do remember me and my father watching and just being in awe. And he came out with Paul Heyman. Am I correct? Was Paul Heyman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always had Heyman. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, you're bringing back so many memories. I'm glad you're leading this right now. Because yeah. Wow. Yeah. You're right. Damn, you're bringing up a lot of good. Damn. You're actually you're making me look at the ruthless aggression era in a different way right now. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. And WrestleMania 19 is my all-time favorite WWE pay-per-view. All-time favorite. But we had good WrestleManias. We had 19, 20. 20 was great. 21 was good. 22 was great. 23 was decent. And then 24 was awesome as well. So you had a great run of WrestleManias. Like WrestleManias like 17 through 24, like they were great. That was like the best run of WrestleMania ever.
Yeah.
And then of course they started the shitfest. But
that was before they started putting them outside. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
24 was the second outdoor show, but it was in a stadium. Whereas WrestleMania 9 was outdoor, but it was like a makeshift arena with only like, I don't know, like 12,000 people maybe, somewhere around there.
My favorite was the last WrestleMania that was held indoors at the Rosemont.
22?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's such a great pay-per-view. I love WrestleMania 22.
That's my favorite. Because I remember, so only because it's the last WrestleMania that was held in the stadium. That's probably the only reason why.
Have you been to a WrestleMania?
Unfortunately, no. I've never been to a Mania. I've been to a Nitro. I've been to a Thunder. I've been to many Raws. I've been to a SmackDown, pay-per-views, house shows. Never been to a Mania, unfortunately. Never got to go to a Mania.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be able to experience that one day.
Well, I have one Mania.
Yes, please tell me.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I'll talk about it when we get there.
It was in Nolans. I know that.
Yes.
Yeah. No Mania experience.
It's not much of an experience, I'll tell you that. But I also went to a modern one, so it's different than going to one that's in an arena with 17,000 people. You know, like 22 or 21. You know. Yeah, because those arena WrestleManias are more intimate, but they also don't feel like that big Super Bowl that it's meant to be. So It has its ups and downs of being in an arena, but I will always prefer an arena crowd over a stadium crowd. You can hear them better. It feels more electric. I like smaller crowds, personally.
Yeah, same here. Dude, I remember in Raw. Well, I'm sure. Well, okay, you've watched many Raws during the Attitude Era. I know you've watched one or two. Okay, remember how the lighting was, where you could see everybody in the crowd?
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
fucking love that.
You could see people in the rafters, basically. Yes. Like, yeah.
Turn the fucking lights on, please. Well, obviously, unfortunately, there's no more people in the crowd. Goddamn, let's not get on that. But I just love seeing people in the crowd. I miss seeing people in the fucking crowd. But I like dome shows. I loved that Nitro that was held in the dome where Goldberg won the belt from
in Atlanta. Yep.
In Atlanta. And then there was a pay-per-view they had in Atlanta as well. Yeah, in WCW.
Yeah, it was the George Dome.
Yeah, I think I understand they want to, for every Mania, they want to attract as many fucking people as they can. And I wish Chicago built like a big dome so we can get another WrestleMania eventually. But Yeah, just keep them in domes. I don't like my WrestleManias outside. You know, I want to be able to do
Yeah, it's just, I think it's too much. And then, like, the matches just suck because they focus more on production. It's like WrestleMania 35. I almost went. And I'm just like, dude, fuck this match card. I'm not going. And I'm glad I made that decision. WrestleMania 35 fucking sucked. I know Rick was there.
Really?
Yeah, him and I talked about that recently. I hated WrestleMania 35. I was glad I didn't go.
That was last year. 'Cause I'm 36. I'm the same age.
Yep.
Oh, God, I didn't watch last. Wait. I couldn't even tell you what happened at that meeting. I couldn't.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh god, I don't want to relive that. But anyway, of course, unfortunately, in June of 2007 is really when this era took a turn with my all-time favorite wrestler, Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Regardless on how everyone feels about it, it changed wrestling forever, and it will never recover. Absolutely never. That was a turning point in wrestling. And, you know, that's why kind of the last days of Ruthless Aggression, they're just kind of shit, because they were recovering from that. And they were trying to, you know, pick everything back up, pick up the pieces and put them back together, and they never did.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, it was a dark time.
Yeah, 13 years later, here we are. I don't think WWE has been good since that happened. So, and that brings us to July of 2008. For a number of reasons, they changed the rating to PG. The main reason, believe it or not, is Linda McMahon's Senate campaign.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted a family-safe program.
Yeah.
And she ended up losing anyway, so it was for nothing. But that's about all I can tell you about politics. But yeah, and like I said, there were other reasons. This was a publicly traded company for a few years, and investors, they'd rather have a family-oriented program. It's just better business to them. And ratings have declined since then. It's abysmal. Like, I remember, like, when ratings would hit like 8 or 9 million, and now we're every week it's like 1.6. So it's just
I remember it's fucking retarded. I don't get it. I remember I remember reading PWI during the Monday Night Wars, and looking at the ratings and just being like, holy shit. Now keep in mind, I wasn't a market at that time. Yeah, I knew wrestling was wrestling, but I didn't know all the behind the scenes shit or anything. But just reading it, I was in awe. And at that time, unfortunately, during the Attitude Era, which was the NWO, you know, it was a great time in wrestling because you get so many fucking people watching. And I told you this before, bro. I couldn't go anywhere without, like, if I would go to a Jewel's or to the mall or just anywhere, I would see somebody with a wrestling shirt on.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That's how popular wrestling was, because Hogan and Bischoff took over Jay Leno. Yeah, I understand. Like, Jay Leno was fucking huge back in 97, 98.
Yeah, I don't know why. Fuck Jay Leno.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, back in those days, and I was 14. I had our apartment, our front room in the apartment was full. We had probably 10, 12 people. Small ass front room in a small ass apartment in Chicago. All of us watching wrestling. My family, my mom's friends and shit. Watching Jay Leno and wrestle with Rodman and shit. But it's just insane how popular wrestling is. Wrestling is fucking popular, dude.
Yeah, when I was a kid, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing Austin 316 shirts. That's the best-selling shirt of all time.
It was either you had an Austin shirt, NWO, or Goldberg. That's like those were the ones that I remember. Yeah, I know. But I remember like a lot of girls in my high school had a lot of Goldberg shirts.
Oh God, stay away from them.
And I just wore my NWO shirt. That's all I wore. Well, like NWO and like Pantera t-shirts in high school. But yeah, wrestling was popular as fuck, bro. It was insane.
So the PG era, I guess it's over. A lot of people, it depends who you talk to. I've said that a few times this show, but July of 2008 was the start of it. No more blading, no more swearing, PG friendly, fucking all that dumb shit. But I like it in between. I don't need a TVMA wrestling show. I like a TV-14.
Yeah.
So when you need it, when you need violence, when you need explicit content, it's there. Nothing's holding you back. Because there's nothing worse than being held back.
Yeah.
And watering down your products. It's made a joke of wrestling. You have fucking just the dumbest fucking storylines and just cheesy shit. Like, I couldn't even... Anyway, this isn't going to be a rant video, but...
I think, like, fucking Brodus Clay, I think... Yeah,
oh, my God.
Yeah.
Hornswoggle is a part of DX.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And, I stopped, I liked wrestling, like, well, we'll say WWE, WWF. I stopped watching, we'll say, 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 5, like,
Yeah.
Around that time. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, it's like, I stopped paying attention to WWE, we'll say about 4 years ago. I stopped paying attention to it. It just got shitty.
I'll always follow it, as in Google it once a day and just look up wrestling news. But I stopped watching religiously around 2009 or 2010.
Oh, wow.
I haven't watched Raw and SmackDown weekly since then.
That's insane.
But there were times where I would get back into it for like a month or two. Like when CM Punk, the Pipe Bomb promo, that got me into it. I was like, holy shit, I need to watch this.
Yes, same here. Yeah, I remember I wasn't watching for a minute. And that Pipe Bomb promo, that got me back into wrestling. And yeah, I remember that. And I remember my girlfriend at the time, she surprised me with tickets to what was it? That match with him and Cena.
You were there for Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm jealous now.
I remember my girl surprised me with that shit. Yeah.
That crowd.
Electrifying.
Yeah, Jesus, man. I didn't know you were there for that one. That's a sacred pay-per-view right there.
I forgot about that shit. Yeah. Damn, that was a minute ago, wasn't it?
2011, yeah.
Jesus Christ. That was that long ago?
Yeah.
We're in 2020 now?
Yep. Oh. Yes, we're in 2020.
Yeah, we're in 2020. I apologize. Last night, I had mushrooms, people. All right? Just Google tripping on mushrooms.
Puts you in another dimension.
Yeah, dude, bro. When I got home, my mama was in the kitchen. She knew I was awesome. I'm like, what's up, mama? She's like, hey. I'm like, how you doing?
Oh, God.
Yeah, she's like, and my eyes gave it away, I guess. So, yeah, she's like, what did you take? I'm like, she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, and then, yeah. So,
it's a good reaction.
Yeah, she's like, all right, yeah. Whatever, It's all love.
Yeah. But, yeah. My WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's like a punchline. I I always really wanted to see The Undertaker versus John Cena. And I'm not talking like biker and word life. I'm talking Super Cena versus Dead Man. I always wanted to see that match. That's a money match for me. So that match was being rumored in January by Meltzer. So I was like, fuck, we're going to WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. And I went there, and the match was like 3 minutes long. So yeah, it's like a punchline. But
I didn't know that, man. I'm sorry.
it was a cool yeah, it was cool going to New Orleans. Big into the paranormal, so I had a field day with that there. But I went to the Museum of Death, where they actually have a bunch of serial killer relics. Like they had, do you know who Eileen Wuornos is?
No, I don't.
Watch the film Monster. Great film.
Okay.
It's about her. But they had like the underwear she was wearing during her execution, like stuff like that. They had Charles Manson. I'm a Charles Manson guy, so they had his letters. They had a Gacy painting. They had a bunch of Bundy stuff. Like it was great.
Oh my god, dude, that's fucking amazing. Yeah, New Orleans is one of the most haunted cities in the country, if not the world.
Yeah.
It's top 5 in the world, I believe. That's fucking awesome, dude. Yeah.
So yeah, the trip was worth it, but yeah, that's my WrestleMania. I got to see Daniel Bryan return too, so that was cool. But
okay, yeah, that's worth it. But I mean, it's worth it, and you got to see Cena and Undertaker. Granted, it only lasted. Right. No matter, dude. Either way, you witness history. Like, come on, look at it like I look at it like that, and then again, the experience in general. I'm sure you had an amazing experience. It's fun to travel. It's fun to go on that vacation. So,
Well, I also have a morbid fear of flying. Like it's bad. So that was miserable. There was a point. This is how bad my anxiety is with flying. We had turbulence, and I was like, all right, this is it. I'm going to die. Like, I accepted my death, and I was preparing for us to just fucking die and nosedive into fucking North Carolina or something. So, yeah. Like, I was like, all right, well, this is it. And then my friend, who knows of my fear of flying, so he decided to fuck with me. He's like, yeah, this never happens. Like, this is bad.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's mean.
Yeah, we're fucked up people. But he's afraid of heights, so I've done horrible things to him as well. So it's fine.
Oh, all right, good.
Yeah, trust me. I always taunt him when we're somewhere high. But, yeah, so I might deserve that. But, yeah, that was, man.
Dude, I've never flown. I'm not afraid. However, I have been in a, those little single engine Cessnas.
Okay, yeah.
I've been in one of those.
Oof. Those are fucked.
Well, I thought that was cool. It was cool. Yeah, it's a single engine. It was there's enough room for the pilot and 2 other people. Long story short, me and a girlfriend got into a plane with a drunk pilot, and then that's all I'm gonna fucking say. At a bar that was next to a airport where they did those single engine Cessna airplane things, and for a price you can go up in the air. And some pilot came up to us. I was like, me and my girl looking at it, and he just took us in the air for free. And the reason why he did it is because he liked the way my girl. Basically, that's all.
Well, there you go.
And I wasn't afraid at all. I wasn't. And that makes me want to go skydiving.
I would love to go skydiving. But do you have any final thoughts here? What's your least favorite and favorite era?
Least favorite era? I'd love to answer here, bro. Yeah. You?
My least favorite is probably New Generation, and then my favorite's Golden Era, I have to say.
Yeah, I agree with you with my with the favorites. It's the Golden. That's what brings me back to my childhood. That's what brings me back to my innocence and shit. My grandparents' house. Golden Era.
And that's when wrestling was at its purest, you know. Let's say I did grow up in the 70s and 80s. I wouldn't have been a smart mark. I wouldn't have known. There's no way of knowing unless like you were an observer, like in the 80s, an observer subscriber. But yeah, I would have just completely immersed myself with it. And I do wish wrestling was more protected.
Yeah, I fucking miss those days when it was real.
Yeah.
Like, it was real. Oh, God, I yearn for those days. But that's why when I watch it, I just try to suspend my belief. You know, I try to do my best I can. Suspend your belief. You know, watch a movie, you know. But I know what you mean, dude. I miss those days when it was real. But you know, I still love it. You know.
Yeah.
Wrestling's always been there, no matter what. I don't care, like, yeah, I hated this era, but no matter what, dude, it was like hard times. Like, wrestling's always been on that TV. No matter what, it's always there. So that's the way I look at it. You know?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. My least favorite's modern. I don't know why I said New Generation. I'm getting drunk. But yeah, I forgot. It's modern era is so bad that I forgot it existed.
We had some good moments. We had
yeah, that's my bad. But I don't even.
I love Nakamura. You know, I mean, when they came up, you know, I was there for Nakamura's debut.
Yeah, but where is he now? I don't even know where he's at.
I know. I don't even know. I don't know where he's at. But like, I remember being in that the Rosemont Horizon when Nakamura debuted, fucking marking out. You know, me and my girl was screaming at that time. Yeah, another girlfriend of mine had bought us tickets to that pay-per-view. I can't remember what pay-per-view that was. Where Nakamura debuted.
Oh, Backlash 2017.
Was it 2017? Damn, that's a long time ago.
Oh, yes, 2017.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I remember that. I remember seeing that live. That was fucking rowdy, man. Oh my god! And the acoustics at the Allstate.
Oh yeah. I do have to ask you: are you the type of wrestling fan who goes to a show and like is screaming and getting like participating, or are you the one that sits there in silence and watches the show? I am totally the person that sits there in silence and watches the show. I have never once popped at a wrestling show. I don't know. I sit there and watch it. You know, like that's just me.
I get you. When I was a kid, I would sit there and watch in awe, and then when I got, you know, as an adult, I'm like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna be an annoying little prick.
So you're that guy.
I would only do that when I really got into it, you know. And that was it. Like, I remember marking out for Nakamura, and that was it. Yeah, that was it. Other than that, like, I go to a Ring of Honor show, I would always be around that little fucking smart that would have to commentate everything.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, it's fucking annoying, bro. I wanted to punch some dude. And if I didn't bring my niece with me, I probably would have been like, dude, shut the fuck up before I knock you the fuck out. Well, I would always have my baby girl, my niece. Yeah. That's my baby. I would always have her with me. And I remember one time we were at a Ring of Honor show, and Maria Kanellis was there. And
there you go.
Yeah, but some ignorant fuck was. Keep in mind, I got my niece with me. That's my baby. You know, she ain't my daughter, but she ain't near my daughter. That's the way I look at it. And some fuck was like yelling out obscenities, and I'm like, I got my fucking niece with me. You say another fucking word, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. And he just walked. He just walked away, bro. Yeah, I remember that. And my niece like, I'm sorry, baby girl. Sorry about that, but you know I would never, you know, hurt nobody. And she's like, no, that's cool. I understand why you did that. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't go to wrestling shows often. I have really bad antisocial disorder, so I'd rather just watch from home.
I used to
But
go pre-COVID, bro. Pre-COVID.
yeah,
And my niece loved Ring of Honor. She loved Ring of Honor more than WWF shows. I would take her to both.
can't blame her there.
Yeah, she was like, I like this better than WWF. And she,
Good.
yeah, I'm like, well, that's because you're watching real wrestling. You know?
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, with modern, I watched Hell in a Cell, and that was the first thing I watched WWE since SummerSlam. And if I wasn't doing this podcast, I wouldn't have watched anything like after WrestleMania, because I'm done. Like, it's just I can't do it anymore for WWE.
Yeah,
I go back and watch old stuff now. That's pretty much all I do.
Yeah.
I love New Japan, but I haven't watched that in a while, ever since the whole COVID thing.
Same here.
And then I haven't TNA. I stopped watching when Hogan and Bischoff showed up.
Yep. Same here. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember when the Super walked on there, fucking that. You remember that? Yeah, I remember we set up live on the six-sided cage.
Yeah.
I remember when he did that. Oh, so many good times during those TNA days. And we still had that was when you could buy the pay-per-views before everything went digital. And I remember we had that cheater box and we got all the pay-per-views for free.
I usually just watch it online if I am, but like for AEW, I ain't paying for that shit. But
yeah, I watch that online too.
Yeah, Rick sends us links, but oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Oh well, we're good.
Yeah, we did great, I think, even though we're both a little drunk, but we did fucking great, man.
I'm not that bad. It was gonna be vodka tonight, but then I'm the one that's taken over. I'm like, oh shit, I can't get too fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, we talked. I'm like, yeah, you gotta take over. I'm drunk already.
It's all good. I've been on YouTube for a long time, so even drunk, I think I can do it.
Yeah, you're good. Like yeah, exactly. You're more experienced than I am, and a lot more intelligence than I am as well.
Anyway, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me anywhere but Facebook at JJ Sinnz. That's double JSINNZ. Where can I find you, man?
Oh, just type in the DVD Freak. You'll find it. That's kind of where I'm at.
Right. All we gotta do is Google you. You're on Google, ain't you?
Yeah, I guess.
So
I don't know. I don't.
You ever Google yourself?
My real name I do, but not the DVD Freak.
No, I should Google you. But if you Google my name, I'll come up on Google.
If you Google my YouTube name, last time I did it, a bunch of people that
Are a bunch of people that what?
There's a bunch of people that steal my videos, like Japanese people, like on these like Japanese YouTube sites. Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's fucking loud.
They like pirate your videos, which I don't really care, but
hey,
yeah, that's what you find.
Hey, you know what that means? That means you're a big deal.
Yeah. I don't consider myself a big deal, but you know.
I have an ego, so I'll walk up to a girl and be like, "What's up? My name is JJ, and I'm kind of a big deal." What's up?
See, I have an ego, but that's for the real me, not the YouTube me. So
I feel you.
The ego gets me in trouble a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh, I bet. I'm a little. I could be.
All right, I say we cheers it and we end this fucking thing.
Bro, we had a good episode. I want to dedicate everything today to Lil Pete. Today's his birthday, and he's no longer alive. He's been dead for like 4 years, unfortunately. I think longer than that. But here, cheers to Pete.
Well, I'll drink to him then. Awesome.
Bye.